Right friends, welcome back to Q&A discussion. This is 24th session, and today because of the problem with the instrument I am not able to mark the answers. So, please keep that in mind. The first question, Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices is quite often in the news, and look at the following sentences. It is a statutory body, absolutely correct. Advisory body on farm prices, this is also correct. And it recommends minimum support prices not only for cereals, it also recommends for other commodities like oil seeds, commercial crops like that. So, third sentence is wrong and it is having advisory jurisdiction. So, 1 and 2 correct, third one is wrong, please correct. It is a statutory body, it is the advisory body, third one is it not only gives minimum support prices recommendation for cereals, but also for others, right. So, look at the next one. India is becoming member of a Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and look at the following sentences. The organization has got its origin as a Shanghai 5. It first started as a Shanghai 5 somewhere around 2001, and now with the entry of India and Pakistan, the total number of member countries will go up to 8. Absolutely correct, the first sentence. Second one, it is the organization which was established with only the aim of counter terrorism. Absolutely wrong, because the aim of Shanghai Cooperation Organization is not only this counter terrorism, but also issues related to the economy also. So, trade and economy related issues has got one wing, and counter terrorism is also included, but economy and trade related issues are also part of this Shanghai Cooperation Organizations. So, it has got one economy, second one this counter terrorism. So, it has got two aspects. So, the second sentence is wrong. Headquarters of Shanghai Cooperation Organization is in Beijing, not in Shanghai. 3 is also wrong. So, 1 is only correct. Look at the next one with regard to Masala Bonds. The name was coined by IFC, the wing of World Bank Group. The name was coined by IFC, which named its rupee denominated bonds as Masala Bonds in 2014. It issued rupee denominated bonds and it named them as Masala Bonds. So, first sentence is correct. If you look at the second sentence, these are denominated in rupees, absolutely correct, but settlement takes place in dollars. This is also absolutely correct. So, denomination is in rupees and settlement takes place in currencies like dollar. Third point is, the buyer of the bonds assumes exchange rate risk. This is also very important. Buyer of the bonds, if somebody invested in America in these bonds, he assumes the risk of exchange rate, right. So, here if I am borrowing from America in Masala bonds, then the exchange rate risk is to be borne by the buyer of the bonds, right. So, here one important aspect, the buyer of the bonds assumes exchange rate risk, or you can say this statement, I got little bit felt this thing here. Here please, I would like to make it clear, this third sentence appears to be not clear. Here if I am the borrower and the lender is in America, so lender assumes the exchange rate risk, right. So, if I am the borrower, the lender is in America, so the lender assumes exchange rate risk, that is very important, right. The third sentence I am not able to clear, so I clarified you. The third sentence, please understand this way, in Masala bonds exchange rate risk, that means if the rupee depreciates, the risk will be borne by the lender, but not the borrower. Borrowers, let us assume, is in our country, borrower nothing to do with this exchange rate risk, and only the lender will bear the exchange rate risk. Next one is, at the same time he enjoys higher returns much above similar instruments available overseas. So, the higher returns are there on Masala Bonds because they are in Indian currencies. So, at the same time he enjoys higher returns much above similar instruments available overseas, right. So, here 1 is correct, 2 is correct. For third one I have given clarification, accordingly I will correct in the PDF file. Fourth one is correct. Let us look at the next one. Look at the following. Quite often during the current year, integrated check posts are into the news. Government is quite often talking about integrated check posts, and which of the above are the integrated check posts between India and Nepal? Please understand, Raxaul, Jogbani, these two are the places in Bihar, and these are the locations of integrated check posts with Nepal. And Petropol, this is in West Bengal, this is the location of integrated check post with Bangladesh. Dauki is in Meghalaya, that is the location of integrated check post with Bangladesh. So, these places please do not forget. Look at the following issues with regard to the developments after new economic policy. First one, privatization of public sector enterprises. Second one, attracting foreign direct investment. Third one, research and development in agricultural sector. Fourth one, execution of infrastructure projects on public private partnership model. Out of these four, which are considered to be the biggest failures? Out of these four, the biggest failures are 1 and 3. One is privatization of public sector enterprises, that is, you can say one of the biggest failure after new economic policy was formulated in 1991. Second point is R&D in agricultural sector. This is also, you can say, that was not received the attention required. So, this is another failure. So, privatization of public sector enterprises, research and development in agricultural sector, these two can be considered as the biggest failures after new economic policy. Quite often we hear about cascading effect, and look at the following sentences. What is the meaning of cascading effect? Cascading effect is because of the tax levied once again on the entire value of intermediate goods and services. Suppose some sauce is made with the tomato. Initially, let us assume there is a tax on tomato, and subsequently if the government imposes a tax on sauce, the tax already paid on tomato will give rise to cascading effect. So, the cascading effect is because of the tax levied once again on the entire value of intermediate goods and services. This is correct. Input tax credit will eliminate the cascading effect of taxes, absolutely correct. So, 1 and 2 both correct. And you may have a doubt what is meant by input tax credit, which is quite often in the news under GST. This question, quite often we hear about input tax credit, and look at the following sentences. The first one is, this is based on the basic premise that taxing the same thing twice is not fair. Taxing the same thing twice is not fair. So, that is the premise behind this input tax credit. Second one is, this avoids double taxation. Input tax credit avoids double taxation on the items used as inputs of making other items. The example is tomatoes and sauce. So, it avoids double taxation on tomatoes. Then credit of taxes paid on the inputs can be taken by the maker of the next item while paying the tax on the output, right. So, these three sentences are correct. So, input tax credit, at the same time cascading effect, these two things are important potential points from examination perspective. The ratio that determines how easily a company can pay interest expenses on outstanding debt. Let us assume if the company is taken 1000 rupees, 1000 crores of rupees loan, and they have to service the loan every month. For servicing, let us say every month they are required to pay rupees 10 crores, right. So, if the company is able to generate that 10 crores per month, or you can say if the company is able to generate 10 crores per month or earnings before interest and tax, that is known as interest coverage of 1. That means every month they have to pay, every month they have to service the loan rupees 10 crores, and the company is able to generate rupees 10 crore earnings every month. That is interest coverage of 1. So, this interest coverage ratio is quite often mentioned in the economic survey. So, the ratio that determines how easily a company can pay interest expenses on outstanding debt is known as interest coverage ratio, or ICR. That is very important. Look at the following sentences with regard to twin balance sheet problem. Subsequent to twin balance sheet problem is the impairment of balance sheets of banking sector on one hand and companies on the other hand. So, here subsequent to the twin balance sheet problem, normally growth is hampered as well as normal phenomena of bankruptcies. I am talking in general, not in India. In general, subsequent to twin balance sheet problem, as the experience shows across the world, this is subsequent to twin balance sheet problem, normally growth is hampered as well as normal phenomena of bankruptcies. Growth will be hampered and bankruptcies take place. That is the normal phenomena after twin balance sheets. The experience in India is almost synonymous, is absolutely wrong. The experience in India for the past 5-6 years is something different. So, one is correct, second one is wrong. Please accordingly, please look at the question. Then subsequent to the identification of bad loans in the banking sector, the paradigm which was followed by the Indian banking system, subsequent to the identification of bad loans around 4-5 years ago, what is the system followed in the Indian banking system? First sentence, after the surfacing of gross NPAs problem, banks have gone for massive restructuring of loans. Normally, restructuring is to be done only when there is a genuine reason, but banks have gone for massive restructuring as well as evergreening. That means giving more loan to facilitate servicing of the loan, that is evergreening, so as to hide the problem of non-performing assets. So, the first sentence is correct. After the surfacing of gross NPAs problem, banks have gone for massive restructuring of loans as well as evergreening. Next point, majority of the restructured loans became non-performing assets in due course of time. Absolutely correct. So, both 1 and 2 correct. Then look at the following sentences. The difference between strategic debt restructuring and S4A must be clear in your mind. This is potential question from examination perspective. This strategic debt restructuring or SDR, that mechanism allows the acquisition of majority stakeholding by the lenders. So, 51% stakeholding is allowed. That means banks, or you can say lenders, can take majority control under strategic debt restructuring from the defaulting company, but in S4A it is not possible. S4A is bifurcating the debt into sustainable and unsustainable, but in this case the sustainable debt must be kept as minimum 50%. So, banks or lenders cannot take majority stakeholding under S4A. This is important difference between this SDR and S4A. So, the first sentence, strategic debt restructuring allows the acquisition of majority stakeholding by the lenders. That is absolutely correct. The second statement, S4A does not allow the acquisition of majority shareholding by the lenders, as the sustainable debt is to be a minimum of 50%. This is also correct. So, 1 and 2 correct. Look at the following. Aminpur Lake in Hyderabad, Bellandur, Bengaluru, Ulsur is also in Bengaluru. So, 1 and 2 correct here. We discussed about Aminpur Lake last week. This is the first biodiversity heritage lake in Telangana near Hyderabad. Then problem with Bellandur Lake we discussed last week. Bellandur Lake, fire was erupted because of the reason. Then Ulsur Lake is also in Bengaluru. fish died because of the level of this dissolved oxygen came down to 1 milligram per liter in comparison to the level of 4 milligrams per liter. Name the European country which is home to maximum number of refugees. Germany is home to maximum number of refugees. In fact, it allowed around 1 million refugees during 2015, if I am not wrong. So, Germany is holding maximum number of refugees here, right. So, please look into this. Germany, that is open door policy of Angela Merkel, it is coming up for a lot of criticism, that is different story. And if you look at the Syrian refugees, maximum are staying in Turkey. Syrian refugees after crossing the border, maximum are staying in Turkey, right. So, this also please do not forget. And if you look at the next one, cyber physical systems. What is cyber physical systems? Cyber physical systems is an interdisciplinary field which deals with the deployment of computer based systems that do things in the physical world. So, here self driven cars, smart grids, aircraft navigation systems, these can be classified as cyber physical systems. And India is yet to conceive this idea, absolutely wrong. Recently some money was also allocated, project was already conceived by India, and India in fact identified it as a key area of interdisciplinary research, and accordingly some money was also allocated for this cyber physical systems. 1 and 2 correct, 3 is wrong. Look at the following with regard to long term irrigation fund. This is part of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, and to complete 99 irrigation projects on priority basis by December 2019. On priority basis, 99 irrigation projects are to be completed on priority basis, and all the irrigation projects as stated above will be entirely funded by the central government. Absolutely wrong. There is state government contribution will also be there. So, first one is correct, second is wrong, third one long term irrigation fund is maintained by NABARD, absolutely correct. So, 1 and 3 correct, 2 is wrong. Sankalp strive, I have given here only to remind you, both the sentences are correct. Sankalp stands for skill acquisition and knowledge awareness for livelihood promotion program, and 4,000 crores was allocated in the budget, and this is the program of rupees 4,000 crores basically to train 3.5 crore youth in giving market relevant training at a cost of rupees 4,000 crores. Second one is strive. Strive is basically improving the quality and market relevance vocational training in ITIs. These two were announced in the budget. So, please be cautious about Sankalp and strive. Then solid waste management rules. First one, it is applicable beyond municipal areas also. Please understand, first one is wrong. It is applicable beyond municipal areas also. Here organizations like railways and townships, these are also included, and segregation of waste at source is mandatory. This is 100% correct, and the waste is to be segregated at source in 3 forms: wet waste, dry waste, hazardous waste, very important. Then one more point is group housing colonies, group housing societies, gated communities, institutions of more than 5,000 square meters area should make arrangement for treatment of biodegradable waste either through composting or biomethanation. So, 2 and 3 correct. So, please go through the solid waste management rules 2016. This can be the potential question this year. Then look at the following with regard to national civil aviation policy. First statement, this is the first time since independence such policy was brought by central government, absolutely correct. Second one is wrong, viability gap funding. Viability gap funding for regional connectivity scheme to identified unserved, underserved airports. Here the viability gap funding must come with 80:20, 80% borne by the central government and 20% borne by the state governments. For normal states I am talking about, and so 100% VGF by center is wrong. So second statement, please correct that statement. Third one, 5/20 scheme was also liberalized so as to ensure level playing field. 1 and 3 correct. So if someone is talking about offset class, that it belongs to defense sector. If someone is talking about 5/20 scheme, that belongs to aviation sector. These things please do not forget, and in this particular question 1 and 3 are correct. Then which of the following is incorrectly matched? Out of these, one can be the potential question. Please go through the details of these 3, 4. Offset clause, as per the defense procurement procedure, the limit was enhanced. So this offset clause pertaining to defense sector, in fact the firm whatever is supplying the defense equipment above certain value, they have to assemble or manufacture their components up to certain percentage in our country. There are well laid down guidelines. So this is about offset clause that pertains to defense sector. Then IDDM, IDDM is indigenously designed, developed and manufactured. This is as per this defense procurement procedure 2016. This can be potential question. There are two aspects there, 40%, 60%. Please go through that, right. So indigenously designed, developed and manufactured, that pertains to defense sector. So please correct the second one. Third one is amended technology upgradation fund scheme is for textile sector. There are several aspects when you look at textile sector, they are very important from examination perspective. Next one is modified special incentive package scheme or MSIPs. This is to promote electronics sector. So these are very important, and please go into the details also. Then the last one, Maternity Benefit Act came into force recently, and look at the following sentences. First one is maternity leave available to the working woman is increased from 12 weeks to 26 weeks, and please correct the first sentence, it is applicable for only 2 children. Then second point, every establishment with more than 50 employees or which employ more than 30 women need to provide crèche facility for working mothers. Absolutely correct. Second sentence is correct. Third one is no maternity leave will be available to the mothers adopting a child. Some age stipulation is given. Depending on the age stipulation, maternity leave will be applicable for adopting mothers also. So third one is wrong. Fourth one, this will be applicable to all the government sector enterprises as well as formal sector enterprises which employ 10 employees or more. All of you are familiar with informal, formal. Formal means the organization which employs 10 or more employees. So it is applicable for government as well as formal sector employees, right. So 2 correct, please correct 1, 3, 4. Right friends, with this let us conclude today's questions and answers discussion. Please do join tomorrow same time. Have a nice day. Thank you.